Fuck off.
Alright, welcome to the Red Pill News Dispensary. You're here with Matt the Red Pill. I have been extremely busy the last 2 days, and not so much with life, just going about life, doing what I do, going to work, taking care of my kid. But as we all know, the world's basically gone bonkers this week. I've gotten more information. I want to thank the people who have helped and just kind of steered me, and sometimes there's other people that try to steer you the wrong way. It's kind of funny once people start seeing your channel. It takes people to start reaching out. You start to really, meet some good people. Then there's some others who might be there with an agenda. You got to be careful. But basically, this video, I have so much intelligence and so many different things. Basically tonight I'm going to do an intel drop. Then I'm going to do another video. I'll leave it for a surprise. I have like 5 topics I'm going to do from now through the weekend. And that's not including like an intel drop. Just a bunch of random little drops of information that I got. But what I want to talk about right now, well first, let me check. Make sure that I am audio good, because I know sometimes it'll echo. Is the audio all set? It's clear. My daughter is at the park with the babysitter, so audio is good, guys. Yeah, I unfortunately I didn't. How many people we got? I didn't start on time because it took so much technical stuff. If you guys look at the description, I had to put all that in, so it took time. Just the chat is clear. Thank you, Martha. Okay, all right. So we're gonna jump right into the information here. And I'd like to hear what you guys think. If you guys are watching this after the live stream, I'd like to hear your comments based on what we talk about tonight. And I hope the live chat is active. I hope I didn't ruin it by coming on a little bit late, an hour late. But hopefully it'll start filling up a little bit more. But regardless, I'm getting this information out and my opinion out. So let's see. There we go. Alright. So, oh man, there's so much information. Alright, here we go. So, we're going to start simple with what we already know. Alright, so we'll start at the beginning. Now, this whole mess, right? Getting it all set up for you guys. Alright. So, as we talked about the other day, there was people kind of forget. So of course there was the oil tanker strike, right? The oil tanker, supposedly they described it as a torpedo. If you guys watched my show where I kind of analyzed that, I think it was more likely a limpet mine, which would kind of it's a tool that's used a lot by like frogmen, underwater demolition, which was actually the job of what is now the U.S. Navy SEALs. That was originally what they were. They were they still are frogmen, but they were more just underwater demolition. And they realized, hey, we can have them come out of the water and fight on land too. Hence the sea, air, land, and now they're some of the greatest warriors in the world. And now that doesn't mean that I think that the United States pulled an FF either. You know why? It was too sloppy. You have the Norwegian and the Japanese. The two, one was Norwegian, one was Japanese, the ones that were attacked. Didn't hear much out of the Norwegians, but from the Japanese, who are our allies, although these are just some sailors, right? They said that they saw, what was it? Drones everywhere, and they blamed the drones for hitting the tanker. They thought that the strike came from above. So from the beginning, this has all been fishy, because, like I was saying, it didn't start with the oil, that particular attack. Before that, they had already sabotaged like 4 oil tankers. They sabotaged like an oil refinery. You guys can find all that. That's like well-known stuff. You know, it's been like a timeline with this. In fact, I have a timeline I'm going to show you guys as well. It's been like this timeline, and now we're at a point where after this what some people think is an FF, but the United States military, especially when it comes to that kind of stuff, it's planned so well. It just, there wouldn't be so many contradicting statements. And if I'm being honest, what I think is going on is I think that there are 2 major powers, the type of powers that aren't elected. They're just there, and they're always there. It's where the true power sits, and there's 2 powers right now going at it. It's the power that was, and the power that is becoming. And I think you guys understand a lot of that with the cabal and the, one Jewish on one side, the other side. So basically, I think they've been trying to set Trump up to go to war. The military-industrial complex needs to be fed, and you saw the Democrats start to. They almost were kind of like, oh, so they're always concerned about red lines, and it is important, red lines, because you don't want to ever like have your red line crossed and then do nothing like Obama. But they're always obsessed with that red line, and Trump knows that, and he has people, strategic thinkers, helping him out as well. It's not just all Trump, but in the end, it's Trump that pulls it off. And he has them all kind of like almost egging them on to war. Like, how do you not respond to that when your drones got shot down? Well, what they don't report, and they do report, however, in the Russian media, that I can bring it up right now for you. You know what? I'm going to start. Don't believe me. Let me show you everything that I'm I just didn't want to scroll through and ruin some of the stuff I'm going to talk about as well. But some of this stuff I'm not going to talk about. But anyways, let me get right to it. So, alright. First, let's talk about this drone. There's going to be a lot of like real intel on this. So, just hang with me, okay? I think you guys will love it, alright? And if you guys remember, I was going to grab the audio from, if anyone watches my Fugle, I was going to grab the audio. A couple months ago I was on there, and I made like a statement. I said, I am telling you, Maf, when you start hearing the Strait of Hormuz in the news, or God forbid it's shut down or it's tinkered with in some way, which is exactly what's going on, it's begun. I said that on my Fugle right when the carrier strike group was on the way. So that video. And a lot of you guys watching every night, you probably remember that phone call. I was talking about all the different assets they had in the carrier strike group where I was going there. He predicted they would attack when they got there, but they didn't do that. But you see, like there was some kind of like outcry and some kind of force. People were trying to get Trump to attack then. Alright, because they were, remember back then, they didn't like attack like the way they did just recently. It was more so like sabotaging and things like that. So we kind of went over there, like, kind of police it a little bit. We definitely have our drones up. Although, that drone that was shot down, I'll show you. I don't even think it's in the story. It came from, went up from the United Arab Emirates, UAE. Basically, in the Strait of Hormuz, you have the UAE, and you have like Dubai up here, and then to the east you have Iran, and it's the Strait of Hormuz going right through, and I mean that all the oil comes through, So and this is all gonna tie in, guys. So we're gonna start simple. So U.S. Navy drone shot down by Iranian missile. Let me just make sure that I am. I just want to make sure that I am. Definitely. Oh man, I think my daughter's just getting home. So you guys can see, right? So now, all right. I just want to make sure you guys are able to see the screen. Oh man, you guys have been looking at this the whole time. I'm sorry. Here we go. Alright. I'm sorry. That's the I've been talking to myself. I had all this up. Alright, so you guys can see now, right? I just want to make sure before I go any further. You guys, you can't see? You should be able to see my screen. Yeah. Well, I'm not even on the... Yeah, you shouldn't be able to, I don't want you to be able to see me. I want you to be able to see the stories that I'm putting out. It should be fine. You should be able to see it.
Alright.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, if you want to see something.
Let me do it.
You didn't have to see. No.
Alright, you guys could see the picture? Alright, thank you. Okay, that's all I needed to know. Alright. Alright, so U.S. Navy drone shot down by Iranian missile over Strait of Hormuz. An unprovoked attack, Central Command says. Well, that's debatable, right? If they truly did not do what the U.S. claimed they did to that tanker, and let's say it was kind of done by, I don't know, one of their allies, that's my opinion. I think that the Russians had something. That's just my opinion. I think that's how they are. The Russians are sneaky like that. I think that they had something to do with it. That's just my opinion. As far as just to be clear, as far as the U.S. oil tanker. So here is the drone. This is an unmanned. Now, when you think of a drone, you think of like a little kid throwing it in the air in the mall 10 years ago. Well, this is the drones nowadays, and it's a surveillance drone, I believe. I mean, look how big that is. So it's U.S. Air Force, and they shot that thing down. I mean, so it wasn't just like they shot like a, a little. If you guys remember that movie, what was it with the little like gadgets that flew? It's the totally different situation. So U.S. military officials returned fire verbally. You see how they poke him? They try to poke Trump. They want Trump to go to war. They want him to go to war. Hours after Iran, look at the wording. This is Fox News. All right, I'm not reading CNN. Hours after Iran blasted a Navy high altitude drone, and that's another thing. It's very high altitude, these things. So it wasn't just some guy with a like something over his shoulder, RPG. No, this is serious. To sky missiles. So let's see. This guy over the Strait of Hormuz with U.S. Central Command leaders on Thursday, slamming the unprovoked strike and Tehran's subsequent false justifications for it. I'm sorry about the back. I thought they wouldn't be background noise. Okay. The downing of the drone via surface-to-air missile is only the most recent Iranian provocation in the region, coming on the heels of a disputed attack on a pair of oil tankers in the Gulf of Oman last week. Now, we all know about this. So, U.S. officials say Iran was behind the tanker attacks. However, the Islamic Republic has not claimed responsibility and even suggested American involvement in the plot. So they're basically straight up saying, there goes the U.S. with another one of their FFs. Alright? Now, do I think that Iran did it? No, I don't think so. I think that we are lying when we say that Iran torpedoed those tankers. I really do believe that. And do you know what happened, by the way, when all this stuff happened with the tankers? The price of oil shot up. The stocks shot through the roof. They went back up where they should be, around 60 for what do you call it, 50, 60 I can't even think. You guys know what I'm saying. So like 60 a barrel. That's what 60 a barrel. Whereas before all of this conflict, and especially with these tankers involved carrying oil, you know, that's what wars are fought about. They're fought about oil. They're fought about currencies. I know, baby. Okay, so, anyways, so basically what I'm saying is, you have to look at who benefits. Well, Iran definitely did benefit because, you know, they benefited in a strategic way where they kind of let everyone know, like, hey, you know, you better respect us because, you know, if you want it to be safe in the Strait of Hormuz, and we can make your life hell. They have been funding terrorism forever. Although there's certain groups that are kind of, you know, like the, you know, not in your face groups, kind of behind the scenes people. You guys know what I'm talking about. That take advantage of that. You know, and they'll do something and they'll set it up so it looks like it's these Islamists, these crazy radicals, you know. There's people who take advantage of these things. I mean, we have to start thinking like the enemy, you know. I think Americans have been dumbed down to the point that it's almost like they think you're nuts if you say, you know, well, what if they didn't do it? What if, you know, it's actually the other way around, or it's not even us. It's not even a matter of nations so much as it is a matter of power, and where the money really lies, and banking, and, you know, the fact that the dollar is on, the, you know, with the connected with the oil. There's so much to chew on, and I've been chewing on it for 2 days. So we're just starting out this. Okay, so basically we get the idea, right? Let me just see if there's anything. Oh, similarly, Iran claimed the U.S. drone on Thursday was over Iranian air. This is key. It was over Iranian airspace when it was shot down. And of course, the Americans said no. It was unequivocally the incident occurred in international airspace. I believe it was an Iranian airspace. I think we always have drones in their airspace that's extremely high altitude, probably surveillance, and they shot it down. But this isn't a new thing. It's not like all of a sudden we put a drone over Iran. We always have this type of stuff going on over all of our enemies. We're always, you know, we always have these, especially around the Strait of Hormuz, and right after there's oil tankers supposedly torpedoed, or according to the Japanese, shot by drones. Although I think it was a limpet mine by some frogmen that worked for some dark enterprise that wanted to boost up the dollar, and that's exactly what they did. They expected it to go up 5 to 10%. It only went up 2.4%. So I hope I'm not losing you guys. So let me get back to where we're at. So we're still talking about the drone. I'm just trying to give you the picture as well. So my opinion is it happened over Iranian airspace because we're over there all the time watching them. We are very interested in their sudden interest in the uranium and how they're enriching uranium and the statements they've made about being at 30%. You know that we're watching them, but for some reason they shot him out. You know what, guys? Actually, I'm gonna take this call just because I've been. Oh, I missed it. I've actually been waiting to hear from this person.
I'll find a better one. That one's okay.
Hello? Hi. Are you what's up? You hear anything? Yeah, it is now. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Whoa. Would you be willing? I'm actually live right now. Would you be willing to, like what you just said to me, and just kind of like, could you like go deeper into it, or is that okay? Well, actually, I was just about to talk about how they had a meeting that was supposedly for the security of Afghanistan, and that's actually why I made the title of my video, like proclamations of peace, rumors of wars. The rumors of wars, of course, it's like Iran, and then the proclamation of peace is basically that's what they're doing. They're having these are the countries that are getting together. It's Iran, Russia, China, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and believe it or not, India. And Turkey is there, but almost like unofficially. They didn't they call it the six, but really Turkey is totally part of it as well. It's just they don't even name them. I don't know why. And it's so weird because you hear about what you read in the Bible, which I'm a Christian, and you see the rumors of wars and they will claim that proclamations of peace, and I'm actually going to pull that up right now. And so I was going to get into that, but I asked you to look into that, and I know that you're like an expert in this type of stuff. Would you be comfortable talking on the? Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to put you on speaker right now. Alright, so we'll keep it to no names. Just, just tell everyone what you told me, please.
Hi, this is Michelle, East Coast Michelle. I deal in finance and a lot of international finance stuff as well as a bunch of other stuff. So I've been researching how usually everything that happens from what happens over by the bases in theater, and when I say in theater, in war theater, in other countries, our weather, all the way to the Pennsylvania refinery blowing up. It all usually ties in one way or another to where it's some sort of balancing or rebalancing of the scales and power. And usually what's behind the power is oil and currency.
I have it up on the screen right now. They're meeting, and you see, and it says it says exactly the Afghan peace process and regional cooperation. That's exactly what it says in the Bible. It's amazing. It's just so weird that they do it, right? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. The peace process, it's like we're always going to be trying for a peace process, and in the name of peace process, how many people are going to be, sent to war or shot down over the strait?
Yeah. If people see the screen right now, Thessalonians 1, 5, chapter 5, verse 3. While people are saying peace and security, destruction will come upon them suddenly, like labor pains on a pregnant woman. Now, I want to keep this show mostly to the facts of what's going on with Iran and Donald Trump, and basically like the world, how it's all kind of fallen into place and where everybody it kind of sits. Are they neutral? Who's what's because it's just so much going on, and that, by the way, that's on purpose. When there's this much going on, they're hiding something. They're
hiding something, or they're taking advantage of, kind of like
and
taking advantage of the situation. Never let a good situation.
I think what they're hiding is what you're talking about. To be honest with you.
Well, we've seen the Brexit fall apart. We've seen monetary issues. We've seen new cryptocurrencies. We've seen Facebook trying to introduce Libra currency. We've seen the silver and gold shooting up, starting to go up higher.
Yeah.
And yet the stock markets are stable. They're not showing anything.
Yeah, and they've actually done well with all this, especially the oil.
So everything's kind of disconnected, and so what we've got is basically the group of people that are trying to negotiate for different currencies and things like that are all meeting together. And when you talk about them getting together for the safety and the welfare, it's kind of like, imagine the Godfathers all getting together to divide up the neighborhood,
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. So sometimes, I hate saying the word they, that's a good way of putting it. It's like the Godfathers getting to having their meeting. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
I'm just listening, so waiting for, it's like a little bit of a delay, so. I think that what we've got is a situation where currency is volatile, and with Brexit and things happening, I think that I'm sure they are getting together and talking about all the things that are happening in the Middle East. But I also think that they're taking the opportunity to talk about the new currency options that are happening.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people don't realize that. In your group might. You seem like you have a really smart group, but
My view is it's amazing how intelligent they are. Yeah, very, very intelligent. Great mods. Just the regular audience are also intelligent. They get it, you know. They at least have it. Sometimes you just have to realize, hey, you're not gonna know everything. It's military intelligence is tight. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to actually know for a fact everything, but you have to have an open mind and just see kind of where things fall and who's benefiting and who's not, and just figure it out. You know, people need to be critical thinkers. I feel like.
I'm curious, how many of the people that on your show are aware that the Federal Reserve was created in 1913 and that it was a 100-year contract that ended in 2013?
Yep, I had heard that, but I bet you not too many, because that blew my mind when I first heard that like 6 months ago. That blew my mind. So it was a contract.
In order to take control, then that's if you think back, like a couple years before, you saw China met with Russia. In fact, they even reported that in the China Times in 2010. China and Russia quit the dollar, and they decided they were going to create their own currency because they were no longer going to allow the U.S. dollar to be used for purchasing oil or for trade, for bilateral trade or anything else, and they were going to come up with their own currency by 2012. And the reason it was coming up by 2012 is because at the end of 2012, the Federal Reserve contract would have been over. So that was their power play to try to do something then. The problem was, and so they came up with this thing called it was initially the BRICS or BRIC. They never could decide. It was Brazil, Russia, India, China, and possibly South America or Sudan, Saudi. They didn't know what the S was going to be. But then everything started changing. So and then it turned into almost like a musical chairs. But if you remember, 2010 is when all the financial collapse from country to country started happening. And then one was bailing out another and bailing out another. And it was all happening during the same time that the Federal Reserve, International Monetary Fund, all these different groups, including the WTO. I mean, how many people realize how much the World Trade Organization play a huge part in what's going on right now?
And Trump just appointed a new head only like, what was that, like a month and a half ago? 2 months ago at the most? I know that he placed one of his guys in as the head of the WTO.
So the World Trade Organization it's supposed to supervise world and liberalize world trade, and it basically is the successor to the tariffs and trade, which was a GATT program, like just a bunch of acronyms that would just bore you to tears. But their job was to kind of like, I don't know, it kind of all started even before the UN or about the time of the UN. It's like there's even power struggles with those different groups. So who wants to be in charge of what? Who created what? Is it part of the UN? Is it not? Is it part of a deep state, or is it part of a cabal, or is it part of a oligarchy family? It's like nobody really knows.
I know,
Everybody's trying to grab it for what they can.
And you made a good point how that kind of ties in with Brexit too. It's like you don't even know where the power lies over there. You know, I mean, it's totally. You have the EU, and then it's just unbelievable how that struggle with power. I hope that the people win that fight. They need to break away from the EU. I think the EU is the worst thing that could happen. The
problem is that it's like what. It's almost like you have to look at what's happening now, and since everything relates to, I don't know, oil and currency.
Yeah, you're right.
What are they sidetracking us with? Immigration, Ebola, and weather, and natural disasters.
Weather, Yep,
And
we're all.
now-
Yep, you're right. And,
Yeah,
but I think the thing that they're trying to distract us from is the currency. I believe they're gonna do a currency reset. I really do, and that's why. Like, I bet you, when all these countries that are meeting together, those are the same countries that met in 2012 that you just mentioned. We're talking Russia, we're talking China, we're talking Iran, Pakistan. India is kind of like new to it, but I don't know why Brazil's not there, but Afghanistan, for what that's worth, and Turkey.
Turkey.
Right, that's
what
almost
I
like-
too much about. Turkey's there.
Oh, yeah, big time.
What meetings I sat in today, Turkey is there, and it's like, so they're talking about the safety of their countries and their nations.
Yeah.
At the same time, they're also talking about taking advantage of these situations and other things they can do to be
Yeah.
able to unite together to be able to become more powerful than the U.S. So the fact that this drone that left...
And the thing is, if they really did unite and really make a currency and really get their shit together and do trade and do everything, and have a strong military, it's possible. I mean, it's possible. I can see what they're trying to do, and that's what I think. But at the same time, I think that it's more of a reaction. I think it might be Trump and his people, the Jews. They're making a move, and I think they're gonna try to do a reset on the currency. And if they do that, the rest of the world has to be prepared, right? So maybe it's their way of reacting.
The U.S. has never usually been the one that has to manipulate. Usually, we're just sit back and we pick and
That's
choose
true,
our
but
fights and
don't
our
you feel
battles.
with Donald Trump, it's a possibility he could do a reset? I just feel like if any president was to finally do this, and that Woodrow Wilson sign in this Federal Reserve, and we're not even, we're a centralized bank now. It's just unbelievable what happened, like with the Federal Reserve. That it ruined that country. We're not even we're like a corporation, And
Well, yeah, actually, some people say we actually officially are, but the
Officially,
problem is
yeah.
that you look with anybody who changed our currency in any way, whether it was backed by silver or backed by gold
well,
or
who
change.
Lincoln tried, right? Lincoln tried.
I mean,
Got
that's
killed.
like, you're talking some
JFK
pretty scary
tried.
stuff.
Lincoln
That's
had the
what I'm saying.
greenbacks. Yep. And then
That's
JFK
what I'm
had a
saying.
plan.
I don't
Yeah.
think, I can't imagine Trump being proactive to go out and do that. I think if anything, he's sitting back evaluating his options.
Yeah.
About okay, but it just seems weird. I mean, this global hawk was an unmanned global hawk that left from the United Arab Emirates base.
Yeah, that's the name of the drone, by the way, guys. It's called
Golden Hawk, yeah.
Golden Hawk is the name of that.
Global hawk, and there's
I thought it was Golden Hawk.
No, it's Global Hawk.
I got some disinfo. Okay.
It's Northrop Grumman and Raytheon combined with the new one. Northrop Grumman and Raytheon combined, so they're
Sure.
the new one does amazing things. The older ones are unmanned and
It's basically surveillance, right?
Well,
To sum it up, I mean, I know there's a lot more to it, but a form of surveillance without getting too. Whatever you were gonna say, that's fine.
I defer.
Please defer. Okay.
But here's the point. The point is it took off from this base that everybody's agreed the U.S. can be on and share with the United Arab Emirates, and it's right by the strait. And it's flown over that airspace, oh my gosh, I don't know how many times, and it's been just fine.
It's always there, right?
Why is it? No, it has to. Normally they're way up so high you don't see them, almost like YouTube.
Yeah.
But
it's not. What I'm saying is, it's not abnormal that's up there. Like it's happened before. It's not like, oh my God.
You would never see it normally at that level unless it's taking off from the base. So it's taking off from the base like it normally does, and so that's why it's not that high in the sky.
It's wicked high altitude. Yeah. So you think they got it on its way up? Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's true. And right next to it. Right next to the drone, and this is how Iran kind of claims, like, hey, they were in our airspace. There was a crew of 35 Americans on a P-8, I believe, and they could have shot them out of the sky with the surface to air. Well, they could have attempted to, but
I just think it was convenient that that why it's not. You're making it sound like this is the first time a global hawk has ever taken off from that base and been in that area of the sky, and that's not the case.
No, I'm trying to make the point that I'm trying to make that exact point that this isn't abnormal. This is a normal thing. Like it happens often. It's always taken off from the UAE. It's always in that area. Those type of drones. Is that correct? Right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
maybe
they move
just
around, but it's like it was.
Yeah.
Global hawk. But the only way that relates to what I'm talking about as far as currency and money is that it could have started a war, whether it was false flag or not. And luckily, Trump either felt it was a false flag or gave Iran an opportunity, since nobody was hurt, to say it was a mistake, and that prevented war. But the thing that worked out good for him is that the thing that would have been the smart thing to do is what he did, and that's like going to war and let all the people go out and say he's bumbling us into a war, he doesn't know what he's doing, and then he pulled it back after he got clarification.
Exactly.
Not unlike other presidents have done when they picked up the phone just to make sure before we had a nuclear strike.
Yeah, I think he set it up the whole time, just like you're saying. And of course, the same talking heads come out, right? What was it, like Pelosi, Schumer, probably, I bet you Schiff probably made some type of, probably that woman from Hawaii. They're all kind of, saying all this stuff because he's about to attack, and they expose themselves. And the whole time, I don't think he planned on attacking in a manner where you're killing 150 people. I think that was like he kind of like set the bar by saying that, because when you come out and you say, well, I asked the general how many fatalities were there, 150, and he said, you know what, that doesn't equal unmanned drone to me. It's too much. Call it off. But in a way, it seems planned to me, where he kind of sets the bar for one. It's like, okay, 150, I can take it, but instead I'm gonna just do something strategic and there'll be less blowback. You know what I mean? He actually handled the whole Syria with the chemical weapons. People thought he got tricked. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't know, but he didn't get too much blowback.
You know what the interesting thing is that none of this matters, because what matters is that it's an opportunity now to level out the price of oil, especially with this happening overseas. The States changing the dynamics of oil being shipped, and then suddenly Pennsylvania refinery blows up, which the insurance company will pay out, so now they don't have to worry about whatever happens with the oil prices. So it's like, nobody's saying terrorism, so that usually means when nobody's talking about a refinery explosion, that usually means it's financial thing.
Wait, so when was the refinery explosion? That happened? Just recently?
Pennsylvania, huge fire, yeah.
Oh, I've been studying this all I missed that one. Wow. So yeah, there's too much. There's so much going on.
You just proved my point.
Yeah.
You hadn't heard anything about it.
And all I'm doing is researching, and I didn't hear about it.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
Which means that if it was any hint of anything terrorism, you would have heard of all over the place about it. And it's just Trump's fault. This is Trump's fault. But it wasn't, and not a word was spoken, which means it was a financial thing.
Huh? That's unbelievable. Wow. So, and it's just, I know for the audience, I know that this is like confusing, right? But just understand, this is confusing for me. This is confusing for anybody. This is very complex. We're talking about potential like military actions in the Strait of Hormuz, where all of the oil comes through, and there's people who are manipulating the price of oil through various tactics, and they've been doing it forever, and it just seems like something's coming to a head. There seems to be two behind-the-scene powers, and it seems like something's coming to a head here. I just don't know what. I'm trying to figure out what's next.
It's currency and it's power.
That's what I think. It's going to be the currency, but you don't think it'll be the Americans. You think it'll be them first.
We always win.
I think we'll win too, but I'm saying like the one to first declare this is our currency. Will it be us doing a reset, or will it be Russia, China, Iran, Pakistan?
Well, Russia, China, Iran, they've already been going through research.
Well, I know, they've been doing it, yeah. But actually...
With the collapse and everything, yeah. So, no, they have what's called, I'll go back to the 2010 story that the China Times or whatever reported, and that was that Russia and China had met together, and it showed a picture of the Prime Minister from China and shaking hands with Vladimir Putin, agreeing that they were going to come up with, they were not going to allow U.S. currency to be used anymore for purchase for oil and international trade and things like that, and that they were going to come up with their own currency, and they called it BRICS, and I mean what was in that. Well, since then, the acronym has changed, and I think this week the acronym has changed because I honestly feel that this meeting that they're having is part of the currency alignment as well, because especially with Brexit not happening the way it was supposed to, and I think that we're seeing a completely different power struggle, and now that everybody's understanding and accepting of this like blockchain as
the blockchain technology, that's the key. The coins are one thing, but the blockchain is the actual technology.
Blockchain to cryptocurrencies is like the bank ATM or your credit card to the consumer.
When you pay your bill online and or buy something, we're all kind of doing it already. It'll be an easy transition, I think. It's just kind of scary because it's like you don't actually physically have them. You know what I mean? Although we don't really these days either. Most of my money is on a card.
Anybody out there know what, I mean, to me, what would happen is like the ultimate war could be when,
it's hard for me to see that.
Even if, what happens if AI gets too out of control? What happens if cryptocurrencies? What happens if resets happen? Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Everybody's power's going to go out and we're going to have bank holidays. And then what good is any of it?
Thank you for reminding me.
And Jessica Veit, what you said, I'm getting to later. I have some information on that. But yeah, I totally agree. Mark, I was just, for the first time, I just glanced at chat. Oh man, what's going on?
We've got the Russia and China quitting the dollar, and that was back in 2010. By 2012, they announced that they came up with a currency. And then there was another one in, the people who stated over all of this is basically the World Trade Organization and the International Monetary Fund and the Federal Reserve and all the other central banks and all the other things that are kind of crumbling or barely holding on around us. So it's kind of like one of those, it's matchup derby, and I mean, it's going to be amazing to see what cards left that
you're breaking up a little bit there.
It's going to be interesting to see who's able to carry the financial currency. You've got background noise there, so it's probably cutting you out.
Well, that's what I think is the big thing behind the scenes. And there's just it's like a bunch of like fires going off all over the place. It seems like there's so many different directions and rabbit holes and all kinds of news. Everybody's captivated by the wrong thing, though. I think nothing's going to end up happening with Iran. There's not going to be a war. I don't think there's going to be a World War III. I don't think so. I think they're going to figure it out.
Now you're talking biblical, and so there is going to be a World War III because...
I mean, not amongst nations, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hear me out on this one. We as human beings are notorious for self-fulfilling prophecy.
I can't believe you just said that. That's like something that I live by. I swear I believe that when people they get in a certain mindset, it can be a positive one or it could be a negative one, or you could kind of pretend to be something you're not. Eventually you become it, you know, and it's pretty deep, but I really do believe that, and like a lot of studies are coming out. It's even being mentioned in like the DSM and all that. But I know what you're saying, like in a bigger picture though, like how a self-fulfilling prophecy as far as it's going to come to in the end. I think it is biblical. I really do. I'm gonna get into a little bit of that, but I just want to thank you for calling in.
Oh, no problem. Great. I'm happy
I'm telling you, whenever she calls, I could be anywhere. I'm answering that call because she great information. Thank you so much for checking that out. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great one. Hey, watch the show. Watch.
Okay.
All right.
Tune in right now.
All right. Okay. All right. So that was really interesting. I know it's confusing. I get confused sometimes because it's by design. I have so many stories. So I feel like everyone already knows this stuff, but Trump says that he reversed the order minutes before the Iranian strike, as you see right here. Sorry about that noise. So basically, he's selling it though. Iran wants to sell their BS, and we're selling our BS. I don't think that he reversed the order last minute. That was a planned, statement, and it's kind of like a warning at the same time. And he's setting the bar, hey, I'm not going to take out large populations, but there will be some kind of maybe retaliation, and it'll be strategic, and hopefully not so many deaths, but it'll damage your country, along with the sanctions and all that, it's going to be damaging to their economy. It's going to hurt whatever that's about them trying to start a currency. It's funny how they met, right? So Iran meets with Russia, China, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Turkey. They all meet up and they pretend that they're talking about the future of Afghanistan. Which, by the way, when they first started these talks 2 years ago, they actually invited the Taliban in to be part of this. All right. So the Americans, we fought all these wars in Iraq, only for it to become training grounds for ISIS. Okay. And now Afghanistan, all of a sudden, Russia, China, they're all of a sudden making all the decisions after Russia had a war with Afghanistan before we did, but then we've been fighting in Afghanistan. We've had troops in Afghanistan. We've lost many troops fighting in those mountains against the Taliban. It's brutal with the type of combat that they go through in Afghanistan. And all of a sudden, America is not allowed at the meeting table? They said, no, U.S., you're not allowed here. I mean, I like to think that things are going to work out, but when the people, all these American lives were lost to what? Help stabilize this country? When it comes to actually stabilizing it, the U.S. isn't there. It's China, it's Russia, it's Iran. And meanwhile, I don't think that they torpedoed that boat. But I think that Russia had some oligarchs, some dark shit, and a limpet mine hit that oil tanker. That's what I think. And, that's an educated guess, by the way. As far as where it's going, that's what... Okay, let's look at Donald Trump's word himself, because that's what I'm trying to figure out. Where is this going? Are we talking something are we entering a biblical moment with this? Because this has the potential, with the Strait of Hormuz, with the players involved, with the currency potential switching, everything going to AI, as well as all this with the oil prices up and down. It's like everything's getting turned upside down. And you have the rumors of wars, you have the proclamations of peace. That meeting that I keep telling you guys about, it's called, I'll pull it up real quick. It's literally called the. Let me pull it up real quick here. That's what they literally called it. Was the Oh, no, that's the other one. Sorry, but that happened. So that happened 2 years ago. But Trump has strengthened that position in the world since then. Let me see. So I have it right here. I just gotta grab it. I have so much stuff here. You know, I can maybe start going through some of this stuff with you because I went down to some. By the way, today is the summer solstice. So happy summer solstice to all you pagans out there. If you're a pagan, you know, looking at Stonehenge, where it comes up perfectly. If you look at on the, what's it called, the thumbnail, I put Stonehenge because, you know, it's the summer solstice. And throughout history, with the pagans, with the summer solstice has always been the most important day of the year. You know, along with the winter solstice, I think, being the second most important day of the year. And they both have, there's a lot of symbolism to it. They build these structures that are now considered wonders of the world. It's amazing. So, what a lot of people don't know is that's a lot of pagan worship as far as the Stonehenge. That's who it was built by, pagans. You know, and they would worship the sun, and they set it up so that when the sun comes up in the summer solstice, it comes up right in the middle, right in between the pillars. Now the same exact thing happens at the pyramids in Egypt. If you're at the Sphinx, all right. Now those were built. I mean, maybe around the same time. I mean, so we're talking like 5, 6, maybe. Some people will say 10,000 years ago. I don't know. I think it's more like 5 or 6, like the Bible says. But actually, I might be off on that. Don't quote me. But basically, the pyramids are built, and if you're at the Sphinx and you look at the pyramids, not only do they match up with Orion, which is amazing because back then they know about Orion's belt and all, and they understand they can build these structures that we could not build today if we tried. And then the sun today will rise right in the middle of the two pyramids. It's perfectly aligned. The Sphinx is in that position on purpose. It's something to do with the sun. We have sundial things like all over the United States. I found one in New Hampshire one time, and I went there for a summer solstice, and the sun, once it hit like a certain point, the light like goes through this little hole and then projects out onto this like slab, and supposedly on that slab is where they do a bunch of not executions, basically just slaughter people. They would sacrifice people. So same thing with the Mayans, summer solstice. They have one of those holes just like that, and it would project the light, and it only happened at that time of, you know, on that day of the year. So they're building these structures, the Mayans, the Egyptians, the pagans, all based on those summer solstice. You know, so what is it? What I just don't, you know, is just what is it about that where they build these structures that are so amazing, and it doesn't even make sense how those certain stones are where they are now. The stones that are at Stonehenge, they're from like I'm just saying off the top of my head, like Spain. It's just somewhere really, it's far. Or it might still be England, but like the other side, it just makes no sense how those stones are there. The pyramids, obviously, I mean, that's a feat. I have no idea how they did that. And then, of course, the Mayans, same exact thing. So it makes you wonder. So I was looking into some summer solstice stuff. It turns out the summer solstice is not only big for the pagans, but it is a satanic holiday. In fact, it's an important satanic holiday. Let me see what I got. Like, for instance, today, in Alaska, I'm telling you, every summer solstice, there's a lot of Satanists starting to come out. So if you're watching this live or watching it before, you know, if you have to say a prayer, whatever, you know, I would say a prayer. You know, before you, I always say a prayer before before you get into this stuff. But we're not going to go deep or anything. We're just kind of exposing that, hey, they're still sun worshipping and things like that. And they're trying to bring that back with the New Age a little bit. So be careful of, you know, some just like the Bible says, you know, many people will speak in His name and, you know, be false prophets. And all right, so it says Nebraska. Oh, so this is another one, because it happened. I know that one of these happened. Wow, so there were two. Okay, so this is in Nebraska. Another one happened in Alaska at a courthouse. So, okay, Hail Satan opens at June 21st. You know what? This is like a documentary of satanic worship. I heard about this because in Massachusetts, obviously, the Salem, Massachusetts, huge, like, underground satanic culture there. It's unbelievable. I actually want to go there one day and, you know, just kind of, you know, go in with the full armor of God and just kind of snoop around, you know, go into some of the shops and, you know, just see what happens. And so, anyways, this documentary, Hail Satan, so they're out there, religious liberty for all. Basically, they're taking advantage of, you know, separate church from state. So now it's like, if we want to have a cross, then, and, you know, not tax the Christians, then we need to not tax these, you know, these Satanists. You know, and these ones aren't the real hardcore ones. They're just kind of disenfranchised from society. But there are some legit Satanists in high places that do sacrifices. We've talked before about adrenochrome and things like that, and I believe in that. And here's the satanic holidays. You guys can see, right? Yeah, you should be able to see. Satanic holidays. Is there like a list? Oh, I don't even want to read half this stuff. You know? Oh. But yeah, so yeah, I know that, like, there's different types of holidays. There's like sex magic, then there's blood magic, you know, even sometimes even food, stuff like that. But alright, we're not going to get into this. This is kind of ritual abuse, all that Christian portrayal. Oh, that's the Christian portrayal of it. Okay, so, there's that. We're not going to, I don't want too much of that on here. Oh, and by the way, I had done this earlier, expecting to go on earlier. I put all the times. It came out all messed up, but so that everyone could see when the sun is at its, you know, it's like its peak point. Because, you know, that's what happens. You guys probably know this, obviously, but the summer solstice is when you're tilting towards the sun. The winter solstice, you're tilting away from the sun. What is this beeping? Alright, so this is what I was talking about earlier. So, in Alaska. Now, the reason I'm talking about this stuff, by the way, guys, you're going to see in a second. I'm not just out of nowhere talking about this. There's a reason for it. I think there's more to all this. Alright, so state government meeting opens with Hail Satan prayer and officials storm out. A government meeting in Alaska opened with a prayer to Satan after a satanic temple member won the right to deliver the invocation, prompting about a dozen officials and attendees to walk out. I mean, isn't that amazing? They, you know, in Alaska of all places too. You'd think that Alaska wouldn't let that fly. Well, it sounds like a lot of them didn't, but I'm surprised that. Anyways. The invocation was the first given by the Satanic Temple since the Kenai Peninsula borough, 70 miles south of Anchorage, changed the policy in November after the Alaska Supreme Court said that the policy violated the state's Constitution's Establishment Clause. The new policy allows for anyone in the boroughs to offer an invocation no matter their religion. So, let's see. There's a long alright, so in her invocation, Iris Fontana, who is a member of the Satanic Temple and brought a lawsuit against the borough to change the policy, called the room to be present and for attendees to clear their minds, the Peninsula Clarion newspaper reported. She asked listeners to embrace the impulse to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Let us demand that humans be judged for it. I don't even want to say these words. This is crazy. So they wait and they do this type of stuff. And some 40 people protested the inclusion of a Satanic Temple invocation. Some held signs reading "Reject Satan and his works," yes. "Know Jesus and his love," yes. As they demonstrated outside the government building, the Clarion reported. Assembly members Norm Blakely and Paul Fisher and Borough Mayor Charlie Pierce were among those who left the assembly chambers along with some of the audience members. So good for them. So in the moment, they were like, "Screw this," and actually got up and walked out. The protesters included William Simon Morgan, who flew to Alaska and Pennsylvania for the event. "God will be pleased with our public prayers of reparation. We want God's blessings on America, not Satan's curses. Lucifer is the eternal loser. Let's keep him out." I like that. We'll end on that for that story. Now, you might be asking yourself, why are we talking about Satanism? Well, for one, like I said, the summer solstice. I have so much research here. It's probably almost too much, probably too heavy. But summer solstice traditions around the world. The Satanic Temple in Salem. They're all doing something today, on the 21st of June, the summer solstice. There's something to it to them. Now, the reason I think that they're becoming more active is I honestly believe that we're watching biblical events unfold in the Middle East right now. When you combine when you look at the Bible, and they talk about, instead of nations, they kind of talk of, for instance, Mesopotamia would be Iraq, Persia would be Iran, and Magog, that's Russia, the northern land. They all kind of, Damascus, Syria, they all have their own little names. Jordan, I forget what Jordan is, but Saudi Arabia, or I know the Saudi Arabia, I can't think of it right now, but anyways, the way that things are lining up, it's lining up exactly the way the Bible laid it down. With, it's like Saudis and us. We're not mentioned in the Bible, but then again, we could be. I think we're probably Babylon, the whore of Babylon. Which means that if that's true, something horrible is going to happen in America, and the world will, cry for them and their riches and all that. That always worries me. That if someone knows the exact verse in the Bible, that always worries me. Okay. First of all, I just want to make sure that I was clear on the Donald Trump stuff. So, we all know what's up. The oil tanker thing was BS. Alright? It wasn't a false flag, though. I'm telling you, it was too sloppy to be a false flag. As far as what just happened with this, with the drone, I think that they're trying to push Trump into a war. And then as soon as he said, "I'm going to strike," they all came out and started condemning him. And then he switched it up. And like I said, he didn't switch it because he's getting blowback and because he heard it's going to be 150 people die. No, That was a created situation. You know, it almost seems like you could be there in the room. General, and the way he even says it, General, how many people will die? Yeah, 150, sir. Call it off. Call it off. And you only had 10 minutes until it was too late to call it off. It was a strategic way of setting a standard. Also, basically making a threat. Like, you know, that's where we were about to go. So, you know, that's pretty high. You know, killing all those people. That means multiple strikes, most likely. What's his own words right here. On Monday, they shot down an unmanned drone flying in international waters. Although, I think it, like the caller, and trust me, she knows. It was actually in Iranian territories, but it's at very high altitudes, extremely high altitudes, and it's not abnormal. And they take off in the UAE all the time. We were cocked and loaded to retaliate last night. It's so funny how they have to use like especially with North Korea, the way he would talk, because everything has to be wicked dramatic. You have to know your enemy. You know, with North Korea, everything had to be very dramatic. You know, he gets it. With Obama, he kind of treated everyone the same, and just I don't even. I look back at some of his policies. I kind of wonder some deeper questions about him. Sorry, so I'm going to continue. Retaliate last night on 3 different sites when I asked how many will die. 150 people, sir. That was the answer from the general, like I just said. 10 minutes later, okay. It's not proportionate to shooting down an unmanned drone, and I agree. I am in no hurry. Our military is rebuilt, new, and ready to go. By far the best in the world. Sanctions are biting, and more added last night. So they did add more sanctions. Interesting. So it sounds like the sanctions were added before. So maybe that's what it was. Maybe they really did take a shot at the drone. And the way, you know, if we were reading like an Iran official statement, they say, hey, if we wanted to, we could have shot the P-8 that was flying alongside with the drone with 35 Americans on board. We could have tried to shoot that down. But instead, we just kind of sent a warning and shot the unmanned drone. So these are dangerous, dangerous times. But it seems like people are being careful. You know, you shoot the unmanned plane, not the one with 35. I think the Air Force P-8. I'll continue. I'm going to rebuild, new, and ready to go. By far the best in the world. Sanctions are biting, and more added last night. Iran can never have nuclear weapons. Not against the USA and not against the world. So I couldn't agree more on everything he says there. And Iran has always been, you know, the 70s, they had the terrorism. They've always been funding terrorism. They've kind of won the fight of, it used to be the Sunnis, you know, Saddam and Iraq, the Sunnis and the Shiites of Iran. But you look at this, it looks like we kind of helped them out, as well as Russia. The Sunnis have been kind of, you know, decimated. That's Iraq, that's Syria, that's the Sunnis. So, you know, it looks like the Shiites won that fight. Alright, so I want to see where the intel I have in here. So we know about this. Here's, if you guys are interested at all in this, I'm not. But AOC, I mean, who cares? Alright, I guess I care. I put it there. Alright, I'm not going to continue. So this is right here, this is the meeting I was talking about, where they pretend that they're talking, look at this. And Iran discussed the Afghan peace process. You know, they're meeting, they're talking about peace, there's rumors of war, with complication. You know, I think I actually have it pulled up. Let me see. Oh no, I don't. I thought I did. Wait, I thought I had it pulled up. Wait. So here, yeah, see, while people are saying peace and security, destruction will come upon them suddenly, like labor pains on a pregnant woman, and they will not escape. It's interesting. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, I might actually have it up here. Alright. So, alright. It's gonna get some of you guys, I might lose you right now, but you guys all know that Israel looks at Trump as if he is, you know what, let me change the camera angle here. Alright, so Israel looks at Trump like he has been chosen. He's like the chosen one. Like literally, that's how they look at Trump. And there's a few reasons for that. It's not just, you know, he's friendly with the Jewish people. His favorite, you could tell his favorite child is his daughter, his beautiful daughter Ivanka. She's married to a very intelligent Jewish gentleman, Jared Kushner. People like think that's why. No, that's not why. They go by Jewish people. They watch. You know what? I'm not. I can't speak for Jewish people, but they do look for signs of prophecy and always have. At the time of Cyrus, King Cyrus, Daniel was also prophesying to him, and he actually was visited by God. I have that whole thing. Let me see. I hate like quoting it off memory, because I'd rather like say it word for word, exactly as it's said in the Bible. Here we go. So now, let me just say a couple more things about Trump first. Oh, you guys, can you guys even see? Hold on. Oh, so you can see a little bit. Alright. So, another thing about Trump people don't know, he was born during a very rare thing that happens, a blood moon. And so is, I believe so is King Cyrus. And that's a sign. He was born during a blood moon. So that's one of the big reasons that was one of like the big things. Then there was this guy like Mark Taylor or something, and he prophesied in 2015 that Trump would be president. Now this one's a little bit crazy for me, but I saw the video. He really says it, and it really happened. And nobody was talking about Trump running for president. Well, you know, I heard Oprah ask him once in like the 90s, but yeah, it was like so weird. And then when he swore in, you know, like the perfect number of completion, it's like 777. He's 70 years old. 70 years, 7 days. 7 months, 7 days. That's how old he was when he swore in. And then at the midpoint, because all through the Bible, the stars, the moon, I mean, it even says there will be signs in the moon and stars. Those are anointed times and anointed periods and anointed people. Literally at the halfway mark, the literal exact halfway point of his presidency, is another blood moon. So with all that said, and then of course him bringing the Jerusalem, you know, having the bringing the headquarters back to Jerusalem, and he's going to help them build the third temple, which, by the way, I think they're already building underground. Now, I know that there's going to be some type of comments after all that, okay? But let me just say one thing. I think that there's certain people who use that faith as a way to advance their agenda, and they're not truly of the faith. They do things that are against the rules. They're not true Jews. and that they're in high places, and this is the devil's world. You know, that's the way it is. So there are people who are going to use, obviously, the chosen people's faith to advance their agenda. However, that doesn't mean that, you know, just if somebody's Jewish, that they're up to the evil. No, they're very good people. They actually do believe in their faith, and there's people who kind of take it to a whole different level, and they're false. I don't even want to get into this. Is such a touchy subject, but you guys know what I'm saying, I think. Okay, so how many years has Trump been president? Because now you guys saw the new coin, right? It's Trump on one side and then King Cyrus on the other side. I mean, they really believe he is the anointed one at the anointed time. It's amazing. And then I was researching this because of some of the events going on right now. And here we go. So if he's King Cyrus, right? Also, you guys know the story of Daniel. Basically, God came to him, taught to him. He went through his 3 weeks of mourning, and I don't want to butcher it, so I'm just gonna say it in layman's terms. So at the beginning, there's a day, and for our calendar, it's July 21st, and then it ends August 10th to August 10th evening into August 11th day. And those 3 weeks, both of those days actually represent times of great sorrow, and you're supposed to be more sorrowful as you go. I don't want to misquote or anything. If I do, I don't mean anything bad by it. So basically, the tabernacle breaking, not the tabernacle, when the tablets broke, or what was it? I'm not Jewish, but when that happened, when the first temple was destroyed, the second temple, they all happened on either one of those 2 days. Now they have names for them. I forget. I could pull it up right now. Yeah, I could pull, because I'm kind of butchering this. Let me pull up something for reference, so I'm not butchering people's faith. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because they really do believe. Well, I mean, I know there's a lot of crazy stuff online, but let me see. Trump was born on a blood moon. Oh yeah, and the eclipse. Here we go. This is what the Lord says to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I take hold of to subdue nations before him. This is Trump. Every time you see Cyrus, think Trump. And to strip kings of their armor, and to open doors before him, so that gates will not be shut. I will go before you. I will level the mountains. I will break down the gates of bronze. I will cut through bars of iron. I will give you hidden treasures, riches stored in secret places, so that you may know that I am the Lord, the God of Israel, who summoned you by name. For the sake of Jacob my servant, of Israel my chosen, I summon you by name, and bestow you a title of honor. You do not acknowledge me. I am the Lord, and there is no other. Apart from me, there is no God. I will strengthen you, though you have not acknowledged me, so that from the rising of the sun to the place of the setting, people may know there is none beside me. I am the Lord, and there is no other. I form the light and create darkness. I bring prosperity and create disaster. I, the Lord, do all these things. Okay, and that is what. So this is what the Lord says. So that's what the Lord says to Cyrus, and he goes from being, Persian and anti-Jewish and all that, to somebody who all of a sudden is letting the Jews in, because at the time the Persian Empire was the power at the time, and that's when the Jews got to go back home and have their home. And they look at Trump the same way. So here's another one about Trump here. So check this out. So now here we are again. Now it's the third year of his presidency, right? In the third year of Cyrus, can I have one? You have one? Yeah. So it's his third year of the presidency, right? So I found this interesting. In the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was called Belteshazzar, and the thing was true. But the time appointed was long, and he understood the thing, and had understanding of the vision. Now, to me, I think that this is when Daniel saw the end days, and he kind of, I guess the whole thing is, from my understanding, when the end days are coming, these things are going to become more and more clear to us. It's almost like lock them up until the end days, and those were the eyes to see. So I find this very interesting. And then the same thing with those 3 weeks of mourning I was telling you about. Those are coming up, like I said, July 21st to August 10th and 11th. So those are watch days. I don't set dates. I don't even think it's probably going to happen right then. There's still a couple things left in the checklist. Alright? I'm talking to my Christians right now. Okay? Because I believe this stuff. I just think there's a few more things that have to happen. In those days, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth. Neither did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. And in the 24th day of the first month, as I was by the side of the great river, which is Hiddekel, then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a curtained man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Rapaz. His body also was like the beryl, his face had the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps was fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. Olivia, please. And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's just Daniel that has all this on his shoulders. God revealed at the end days to him thousands of years ago. I mean, it's just like, that's a lot to kind of take in. And I, Daniel, alone saw the vision, for the men that were with me saw not the vision, but a great quaking fell upon them, so that they fled to hide themselves. So basically, there was like a quake, and they all ran, and he was the only one left that kind of stayed to see it. But anyways, I just thought it was interesting there, seeing about the third year of King Cyrus. We're in the third year of who they consider King Cyrus. I think that's enough of a correlation to bring it up. And obviously Daniel, it's all about the end days. And when we start really like kind of looking at this as a whole, how can your mind not go there? That, hey, could this be like Bible prophecy being fulfilled? Or let's say it's not Bible prophecy. Let's say that I'm a believer in Jesus Christ and I believe in God. But let's say there is no God. Let's say we're just people and we're just here and we live and we die and go on the ground. Well, right now, how is this going to be solved? It doesn't look like Iran's backing down. They have all kinds of backup. Now that they're forming these committees, meeting up with Russia, China, Pakistan, India. These are all the countries that have nuclear weapons. It almost doesn't even matter it does matter if Iran themselves have it, but if all their allies have it, it's almost like they have it. Russia has nukes, China, India, Pakistan, they all have nukes. Alright, and they're all meeting, and I think that they are either preparing for us to mess with the currency, or they're trying to do something with the currency themselves. So I'm going to end the video on a timeline of everything that's kind of been going down. And I want to thank everyone that joined us. We're not done yet, but I just want to thank everyone who joined us. I wasn't around a couple of days. I've been literally studying. I have this topic set up for today, but I'm telling you guys, I have so much information. I have so much random stuff. I gotta get it out there. I'm actually worried that if I do too many videos, they only show notifications for like 2. Like the third one won't be a notification. So tonight, about 11:30 Eastern time. Yeah, I'm shooting for 11:30. It just, as long as my baby's asleep by then, which she definitely should be, but just in case, because she's having fun tonight with her mother and everything. So, I'm gonna have a call-in show, and I'm also gonna have an intel dump. This one I wanted to focus on Iran, Trump, money, oil. Well, I didn't even know we were gonna go to the money. That was when she called in. It tied in perfectly. So, alright, let me just show you. Let's just kind of take a look at the timeline, because sometimes when you look at the timeline, it kind of puts things into perspective. So, how Trump and Tehran came to the brink of war. Well, President Trump confirmed Friday. Oh, let me make sure that I am definitely sharing. I'm sharing, right? Oh wait, I wasn't sharing. Okay. Alright. Good thing I checked. Alright. I'm not doing call-ins yet. I don't know who this is. Hello? Red Pill. How you doing? Yeah, well, actually, I'm about to end this show. This show, I just wanted to get this information out. I got to get my daughter to sleep, but that's what I was just explaining. I'm going to be doing a second show, and I'm going to do a quick intel dump. People have been sending me a lot of information. I've been in rabbit holes for 2 days, but at first I wanted to kind of give my perspective on, obviously, the big story that we're talking about here. And, maybe tie in a couple things. There's some biblical things you can tie with. But tonight, I'm going to do a quick intel dump, and then we're going to take calls, okay? 11:30 Eastern time. Whatever you are, 11:30 Eastern time. If I can do 11:15, I will, But it's all right, brother. I look forward to hearing from you. All right, bye. Yeah, I'm not taking calls yet. I gotta spend time with my daughter. And her mother's here. I gotta spend time. I've been doing this. I've been literally doing nothing but studying this. Copy and pasting all the information. If you guys go to the description, hit the description, pull it down, you'll see all kinds of stuff. I put everything's in the description, a lot more than I've even shown, because it's just so much. You don't want to beat it to death, right? So, anyways, the President Trump confirmed Friday that the U.S. was cocked and loaded to strike Iran last night, a move that could have accelerated the path to war. Well, how did we get here? The strike had been ordered in response, although I don't think it was ever a strike ordered. I think that, I can't take calls yet, guys. I'm going to take calls, though, the next show. Alright. The strike has been ordered in response to Iran's shooting down of a U.S. drone earlier this week, but the trend toward conflict began in earnest last year when the president announced that the U.S. would pull out of the internationally negotiated Iran nuclear deal, which, of course, now, with all these problems, and we're almost on the brink of war, it really feels like it. It's like the escalation, you feel it, right? But I still think he made the right decision. I mean, they were gonna get there anyways. We were just giving them all kinds of money. We weren't even allowed to just go in and check and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. It was a trash deal made by crooks, in my opinion, that are all going to go down soon. I hope. I hope I see them all do that perp walk. Oh, I was fooled at one point. But I hope to see them those ones do the perk walk. A lot of the people dealing with Secretary of State, Kerry, Clinton, those ones. Okay. So anyways, we left the deal May 8th, 2018. And he kicks off that maximum pressure campaign, alright? Then all of a sudden, who comes out? Like the god of war, right? Bolton. And Bolton's warning. National Security Advisor John Bolton issued a statement referring to impending Iranian attacks and announced that U.S. aircraft carriers en route to the region. So people forget about this. I almost forgot about this. And this is a huge story. That we got intelligence. It might have been a cryptologist like what I did. You intercept a message, you break the code, you have a linguist. Oh, you realize right away this is like top priority. Give it to your chief, goes up the chain of command. Then we know, and first of all, we're ready for the attack, and second of all, I think they wanted to let them know we know that you guys were going to try something, if that's actually what happened, right? So that's what makes this all kind of. There's forces at work behind the scenes. We all know that. I mean, all this stuff. Come on, it's too much. And then look, you got to look at the price of oil. Always keep it. Anytime one of these things happen, look at the price of oil. Look at the value of the dollar. Look at those things. Seriously, learned a lot. It's unbelievable. So so John Bolton, the god of war. So he sends they make it sound U.S. aircraft. It was a carrier strike group. All right, it had 3 or 4 destroyers, a cruiser, the USS Lady, Leite, I think, and then the USS Abraham Lincoln, the aircraft carrier. They had all the crazy aircraft, the ones that do that basically protect the ship, the fighters, as well as like surveillance, and all those cool gadgets, like the real cool airplanes. They were all with that carrier strike group. I mean, it's a big deal. Honestly, the most powerful force in the world is the United States Navy. More than any other branch of the U.S., more than any other country's particular branch. I mean, the Marines, they're unbelievable. But they're part of the Navy. They hate hearing that, but it's true. They're part of the Department of the Navy. The U.S. Navy SEALs, great naval intelligence has always had a great reputation. Even naval law. Even despite lately, if you guys heard about that, I'm going to talk about it tonight. Talk about if you guys want to check it out first, the Navy SEAL that's up for murder for the guy put a knife into this little Taliban, but he was like kind of young, he was like a kid, and he could have lived and just kind of killed him. He pretended to be tending to his wound and killed him. So I don't know. Obviously, the kid was a little bad motherfucker. Those Taliban guys, I mean, they're ruthless, and all they've been doing is fighting their whole lives. I mean, we have the technology over them, but these guys are very skilled. Some of them. I've seen some, not so much, but okay. Then we had the first, so right after that, right? So May 8th, they send them. And then on that same, 3 days later, so May 5th is when we sent the carrier strike group. 3 days later, Iran announces it's going to increase uranium production. And it actually said to 30%. Then the next day, Patrick Shanahan, the acting defense secretary, presented a plan for 120,000 U.S. troops to be deployed to the Middle East in the event of an Iranian attack. So basically, that's your answer. If Iran just shot down one of our drones. Do we have 120,000? What did Donald Trump always say during the election? That unlike dumbass Obama, he's not going to telegraph his moves to his enemy. Just like I think that, that whole story about, 150, Oh, that's not an equal balance. He doesn't care about equal balance. He wants to crush these people. You know, he doesn't want to murder and all that, but he wants to, as far as like power and things like that, he wants to take them out. They're an enemy. They're a threat to us. You know, it's not so much the people of Iran. The people of Iran, look at pictures from the 70s. They were walking around. They were, you know, the girls in tank tops and shorts, and you know, great place, great cities. And now it's this Islamic revolution, and it's like, you know, I feel bad for the woman. I really do. It's so nuts. You look at the Iran in the 70s. It's like, what the hell? They were like t-shirts, shorts, get their hair done. Now it's, you know, it's like ISIS. You know, like the Sharia law type shit. But they have taken out the Sunnis. And the U.S. sent additional military hardware, including the warship, to the Middle East. Then the first tanker attack happens. 4 oil tankers, 2 Saudi, 1 Emirati, and 1 Norwegian. Norwegian again. They were attacked near the Strait of Hormuz. If you guys heard me on my Fugel, when this, actually, it was right around, it was May 5th. When we sent the carrier strike group, that's when I called them. You know, and I warned. I said, that's it. That's biblical. That's strategic. That's everything. You know, it has real life, real time. Whether you believe in all this, whether you believe in the prophecy or not, the Strait of Hormuz is a strategic, very important little canal of water, because so much oil, meaning so much currency and power, comes through there. And right now Iran is making it not feel like a safe place, and that is not good. Although the oil prices shoot up, they like them around 60 a barrel. Once they get down to 50 or lower, be careful. Like the caller said, the refinery in Pennsylvania, that blows up. All of a sudden it goes up again. And I guess the U.S., we have a crazy supply of oil. Like we're the ones giving the oil. So we're now in that position. May 14th, armed drones strike 2 Saudi pumping stations. Houthi rebels operating in Yemen claim responsibility. You remember that? I mean, this is like every day, something. Then the next day, the U.S. orders a partial evacuation of its embassy in Baghdad. Now that's when I start to worry. When I start seeing things like all Americans have to come home. When you start seeing that, that is a definite sign that they are considering war. They're considering some type of military action. They don't want any Americans killed, of course. They start with the embassy, and then it goes to any American, come home, because we might be, bombing you. That happened with Venezuela. Nothing's come of that yet. And that's kind of funny, too. People forget about Venezuela and what's going on. Keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on Venezuela. There's just so much going on that there's something that they're trying to hide. That's my point of this whole video, basically, is, I'm breaking all this down. Everyone is so quick to say false flag, FF, about everything. I don't think that's the case, especially with the oil tanker. We wouldn't be that sloppy. The Japanese are saying a drone did it. The Iranians saying torpedo did it. Intelligence people who I know saying that limpet mine did it. It doesn't seem like a U.S. That would have been done by U.S. Navy SEALs had it been done. It would have been done by frogmen. That's not what happened. That's just, I don't believe that story. It doesn't add up. It's too sloppy. So there's powers behind the scenes. So when people think that you're crazy, that there's like this cabal, this deep state, there is. Why do you think? Look at all this. This is, and every single one of these things I'm naming, oil goes up, the price of oil, they manipulate it the way they want. It's unbelievable. And that's why that Strait of Hormuz is so important. forget about the biblical applications that you can make. And a new escalation is just all of a sudden. So it seemed like they cooled down for a month, and then bang. While the Abe, you guys know Abe, the Japanese Prime Minister, he's very tight with Trump, supposedly. He was in Tehran, and diplomacy apparently on the table, and then all of a sudden, see, that's what doesn't make sense to me either. So Iran invites a powerful country's leader, like Japan, to come to their capital. While they're at their capital, they attack one of their oil tankers. One of them was Norwegian, one of them was Japanese. And like I said, the Japanese said they saw drones, they thought a drone did it. You know, there was all these aircraft, and they described them as drones. So did the owner of that particular, I think he owned the actual tanker company, but to do that while the leader is in Japan, I mean, that is like an act of war against not only Japan but the U.S. and the world. I mean, that's serious. That's a serious accusation. When all of a sudden, right after that, so we're going to talk about where. So anyway, it's not even in here, but of course, Pompeo came out, and I like Pompeo, but don't forget, his roots are CIA. So he knows how to dance the dance, if you know what I mean. So he comes out and says that we have intelligence that the Iranians did this with torpedoes. So they torpedoed Japanese ship while the leader of that country was in their capital. It doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. And I'm not trying to go against the U.S. official story, but sometimes you can't tell the truth. It would expose too much of the dark forces that really run things. And all of a sudden people will stop watching their Bachelor and going to the mall, and if people actually found out how the world actually operates, it would come to a standstill. So June 17th, Iran announces it will breach uranium enrichment levels under the 2015 deal in 10 days. That same day, the U.S. announced it will send an additional 1,000 troops to the Middle East. Let me get through this real quick here. So, with 1,000 troops on their way, Iran then, of course, as we know, shoots down the U.S. drone that it says was in its airspace, which I actually believe that. The U.S. provides evidence it was over international waters. What it doesn't mention is there was also I'm pretty sure it's a P-8. Well, I'll stick to this. I can show you guys that after, unless this is this is the end. Alright, so then, same day, Trump approves strikes on a handful of Iranian targets, but then the last minute calls them off. I don't believe that, but I think it's brilliant. I think it's, I already explained like 3 times why, but I think it's brilliant. You send the warning, you kind of set like a ceiling, like, okay, like, 100, we're not going to kill all that, but we are going to hit strategic locations. I wonder if they have intelligence about where they're enriching this uranium. It's obviously going to be underground. But, you drop a Moab there, I think that would do the job, right? So, be interesting what's going to come in the future. And then, of course, today, Iranian officials tells Reuters, who, by the way, guys, I know everyone gets really, like, shaky when it's Russian information, but don't forget, in 2013, the Smith-Mundt Act, which used to protect us from propaganda, was lifted. So now the U.S. is allowed to disseminate propaganda to its citizens. And I can't believe how many people don't know this. I don't know how. I try to say it as much as I can so people understand. The U.S., that's why you watch the news, like, makes no sense. It's like, it's so obvious what they're doing on CNN or MSNBC. even Fox News. You know, it's so obvious the game that's going on, and a lot of people caught on quick. But the reason it was even possible is because Obama, of course, lifts the Smith-Mundt Act, which banned which banned propaganda. Since when is America a place where we have propaganda? We're a free country. We don't do that. Well, now we do. Since 2013, I'm pretty sure. I'm definitely now. I'm just thinking when it happened in 2013. So what I'm getting at is sometimes when you read the Russian stuff, you're gonna find nuggets of truth. You know what I mean? Don't take it. Take it with a grain of salt. But you're gonna find nuggets of truth in there. Because the U.S. doesn't want to tell you every little thing, because it's not in our best interest. And I understand that. As someone who used to be in the intelligence community, I get it. So, there are things, it's not exactly nefarious when they don't tell the whole story. It's really protecting you. I know it doesn't feel like that. No one likes to be lied to, but it really is better off. Alright, Iranian officials tell Reuters that they received a message from Trump warning of impending U.S. attacks and seeking dialogue as Trump confirms he felt the planned strikes were not proportionate. Basically, it was too much. I think that was just his way of making a statement, and he accomplished several things, and we've already went over all that. And to go deeper, let's see what this says. Israeli officials, you guys know who they are, right? You know who those officials are, right? Assad. Say Iran won't de-escalate without stronger U.S. response. Like I said, Trump is being pushed, and he is resisting. He doesn't want to do this, but he's getting pushed by the Assad's being pushed by, obviously, you saw how the Democrats reacted. That was another thing. By announcing it and then dropping the plan, he had all these Democrats, all the leaders come out sounding like idiots, and then when he drops it, they're stuck with the ball kind of looking stupid. So it was also a good political move, in my opinion. Alright, and what was it that I wanted to show you guys? There was not too brief with it. But, along with that, it wasn't just a drone. Now, this is what look at all this crazy stuff, Archangel Michael in the Bible. If you guys want to look into this stuff, I didn't want to go too biblical on you guys, but if you guys really want to look into this, a lot about Michael and when he's mentioned in the Bible. And by the way, those days, it's Tisha B'Av, that's the last day. And that's when, literally, all the bad things that have happened to Jews either happened on that day or the other day, which is, for us, July 21st. I mean, both temples had gone down on one of those days. That's when they had to leave their land. That's when Moses broke the tablets or whatever. That's it. All these things that happen. That's why they have those 3 weeks of mourning from one day to the next, because between those 2 days was basically all the huge sorrows of the Jews. It's amazing. Big events, So let's see. I just wanted to see, and also, of course, being born with the blood moon. Like I said, he was 70 years old, 7 months, 7 days. I mean, they really do believe it, though. You guys saw all those coins, and people think the summer solstice. There's always going to be some craziness. I figured it'd be cool to read some summer. This is all in the description, by the way. That's why I'm showing you guys. Some of the craziest stuff. If you guys are into that, it's right here. What's this one? Oh yeah, the 3rd year of Cyrus. It's also the 3rd year of Trump. And I know I probably kind of sound a little up, but people really believe this stuff, and that makes me interested in it, because when all of a sudden something happens in life and it matches up with some prophetic, some prophetic proclamations, it's alarming to me. I want to know about it. We went through all that. This was the interview. Okay, so let me just make sure I got everything. Oh, by the way, in cancer, I'm gonna go through all this tonight, but a huge breakthrough for cancer. Okay, guys. We'll go over that tonight. Some stuff with John Kerry. Yeah, I made sure to put it all in here. Some said you reverse the order. Okay. So I think. By the way, look at this. This is the big one. They meet for the Peace and Process Regional Cooperation. These countries. Almost think of like before World War II, right? If there was like a meeting of, like Italy, Japan, Germany, or the Allies, France, Britain, America, Australia, Canada. That's potentially what's going on. And they're saying it's just about a security summit for the Afghans. But they're talking currency. They're talking, what if the U.S. attacks, or would we attack? Is there, in a war, would it ever be worth it? How could we achieve our goals? And that's where that isn't in the news. I found that. That's I think that I know I keep on saying there's something that they're trying to hide, because there's not only all this is real, what's going on in Iran, but also there's all these other stories all of a sudden. It's like so many news stories at once that there's something that they're trying to hide. That's what they do. It's just you get to the point where you're overwhelmed. You can't read every single story and have a life, and it's just impossible. But that's why the red pill's here. Alright, so let's see. We went over all this, so look at her. Yeah, and then he called off the strike. Made it look stupid. And of course he's going to talk a little about with the deal, all that. And he actually finds out he doesn't believe that Iran down the U.S. drone. So what's that tell you? He gets briefed by the top security of the NSA, everybody, CIA. FBI is the homeland, but still, he gets briefed by all these security agencies. And his opinion was that Iran might have not done it. I don't see why they would do it. I don't even see why they would do the tanker. Like I said, with aid right there in their capital, and they hit one of his tankers. It doesn't add up. There's forces at play, and they're trying to force Trump into a war. And I think I know that you guys know who those forces are. Okay? So, like I said, 11:30 tonight, we're going to have another show. We're going to keep it rolling. I have a lot of intel. I just need to get it out. This show, I just wanted to kind of focus on that one thing. If you want to learn more, there's so many different articles, there's so much information. You could basically just go to this video, go to the description, and learn everything about this conflict through the description. So check it out if you want, and it also, if you want to look at the biblical side of it, that's all in there as well. So, let me see, what else? I'm just trying to make sure that's everything I want to say. Alright guys, so again, I just want to thank you guys for stopping by. I wanted to see the chat, see if there's anything popping in the chat that I should know. I haven't been watching chat, so I'm sorry guys if you guys have been trying to get... Do you guys want me to leave the chat on for a couple minutes? Yeah, it didn't work out well for Kennedy, didn't work out well for Abraham with the greenbacks. He actually produced he actually had the greenbacks out there in circulation. They took him out. And people don't realize they paint Wilkes Booth as if he was some nobody. He was a Mason. A high degree Mason. It's history is what the victors tell. Had had, you know, he not been killed and succeeded. What was that? I just let what's oh, military industrial yeah, well, yeah, it's like a beast that needs to be fed, Renee. You know? It really is. I just, my big thing with you guys is just, I've given you my opinions. I told you what I think is going on basically each subject. But if you notice, I try to keep an open mind, because whatever you're led to believe is usually what you should not believe, especially in this day. It's all about controlling people, controlling your mind, controlling how you think, controlling your values. It's like everything's gone upside down. You just have to be a critical thinker, but at the same time, you don't want to just always go like automatically. Oh, it's an FF. It's an FF. The U.S. did an FF. I'm telling you, it was way too sloppy. They didn't do an FF. Plus, Trump he doesn't want the war. He's trying to avoid this, while all these dark forces and very influential people are pushing him in that direction, including his own countrymen. You know, you watch the news. It's like they're foaming for blood. It reminds me almost of like Iraq, you know, except they were a lot more ridiculous back then. Remember, like the alert levels and oh my God, they're keeping people in a constant state of panic. You can't think critically. Yeah, military-industrial complex. Oh yeah, hey Jessica Vite, I haven't been watching chat, but I gotta say, you are a very intelligent woman. I've been noticing a few things that you've mentioned, and you know your stuff. I hope that you join us tonight as well, and I hope you guys. Charles, how you doing, buddy? And Renee as well. And thank you, Mark, for keeping everything in order, because it's a sensitive subject, and you know people are gonna say that. I mean, the comments are gonna be disgusting, but I don't like to censor too much. But my rule is, you know, just don't be like racist and things like that. I don't like that. There's ways of saying what you want to say without saying like, oh, because there's ways of kind of making your point, you know, instead of getting nasty and, you know, I don't want that. Other than that, I'm not here to censor anybody. You know, other channels might do that, and that's okay. They might have a larger audience, and it's required. Here, we're pretty open, you know, but just keep it easy on the real nasty stuff, you know. But you can say anything you want here. You know, the only thing I don't say is FF. You know, I don't say that. That's the one thing. I'm not that dumb. But you know, the rest, I've never gotten a strike. Actually, I have, but I beat it. I said, you know, it was on the thumbnail, and I responded. I said, no, that's not. You know, that's not copywritten. And then I won. And then there was another one about some video, but I had permission. So they tried two, and they both got knocked down. So instead, they basically take out my computers. Right now, just so you guys know, I'm working on a laptop with no screen, but I hooked the laptop up to an old TV I'm not working. So the screen for my laptop is the TV, and I'm sitting at my kitchen table with the keyboard on the laptop doing everything, the phone right here, and then the TV as the screen. So, alright guys, I just want to let you know that I'll be back like around 11:30, and we'll have a call-in show, a little bit of an intel drop. God bless. I hope you enjoyed the show, and don't forget, when you need to get your Pez, you come to the Red Pill Dispensary. Alright guys, thank you, and have a great night. If anybody is so well off that they could, you know, throw a PayPal, you would be the first to do so. So, you know, it's funny. I've been doing this a long time. Never, actually, I'm lying. I got a super chat the other night, $4.99. So I want to thank that person. I'm not going to say their name, but thank you to that person. So I'm making money. I'm making it there. All right, guys. Have a good night. You know, I'm going to leave up the chat for a couple of minutes. That way you guys can do whatever you want. You know, if you guys want to talk and chat for a couple of minutes, I'll leave it up for a couple of minutes, okay? All right. I'll see you in a little bit.